Hi, welcome to another Ask the Experts question with Michael Yardney and Ken Race. Welcome, Ken Race, Director of Metropole Wealth Advisory.
Thank you, Michael.
Now, a question from Robin Turner from Main Beach in Queensland. He left on the website, said, I've heard a testamentary trust is a great estate planning tool. I'm coming to the age where I should start thinking about getting my affairs in order and getting a will. I own 3 investment properties in my own name. Should I consider setting up a testamentary trust? Will this avoid capital gains tax? So, Ken, let me ask a couple of questions around that. If he's got a number of investment properties and he passes them on through his will, there's no capital gains tax involved, is there?
No, you'd say no, because on death there's no capital gains tax and no stamp duty on the transfer. So you've really got to then look at, is there a better way to pass on? And then that's when we come down to the type of will that you actually put in place, which is the substance of Rob's question.
Well, it's good that he's actually planning and thinking about this, and it is important because you shouldn't get those off-the-shelf wills. There's too much going on. So he also mentioned the concept of a testamentary trust. Yeah. Could you explain a bit about that, please?
Yeah. Look, I'll just premise it with a couple of comments beforehand. I think all of us should have wills, and not necessarily at the latter time of your life, because we never know when the proverbial bus is going to come. But having said that, when we're passing our assets to the next generation, there are 3 important questions to ask. Who? So who are you going to give something to? And what? What are you going to give that individual person? So who gets what is critical. The bit that most people ignore is how they're going to do it. So a lot of people will just pass on the assets into that next person's name. That's their how. There is a different type of how, and that is using a testamentary trust. So a testamentary trust is only set up after you pass away, but it has to be part of your will that is what's going to occur. So you build in the testamentary trust requirement in your will. It's then set up after your death. And the benefits of that are the person that you're wanting to pass on those assets to never owned them. They control them via the trust. So that means there's protection if they get sued, so asset protection. In a family breakdown, you know, if you've passed on assets to your children and then they've had a family breakdown, it'll preserve those assets within the family, not the partner. Thirdly, it gives you flexibility of who you can distribute to. If you pass on an asset to a person, they will get the capital gains. If they sell, they'll get the rent. Versus in a testamentary trust, you can now spread it amongst other family members. And one of the big tax issues is children under 18, if they haven't worked for the money, they get taxed at 66 cents in the dollar. In a testamentary trust, you can now pass money to a minor and the minor pays the normal tax rate, i.e. $18,200 tax-free. So the testamentary trust is a great tool to, if you like, protect the family wealth and ensure those assets go to where you want them to go, and as a side benefit, some significant tax advantages.
So Ken, what should Rob do? What is his next steps with estate planning?
Look, he's got to go and seek legal advice. Testamentary trusts you can't buy over the internet. I suggest that he goes and gets good advice at Metropole Wealth Advisory. We can certainly assist Rob with going through all those issues to then determine what is the best structure to move those assets. Because one of the things we do for our clients is if they're in a relationship, spouse, partners, whatever, you know, they both people don't tend to die at the same day in the same car accident. So you've really got to structure your affairs so that you can use the testamentary trust on the death of one of you to get a benefit, but also how do you pass on your superannuation? because that's not part of your will. You need other documentation. And part of your super could include life insurance as well as your balance. So you've got to be very careful there, because if they go to the wrong people, such as your adult children, there could be taxes of between 15 and 30% that are easily avoided if you get the right advice.
Okay, so in summary, testamentary trusts work very well if you've got assets, and it makes a lot of difference to plan in advance. So get good advice, Rob, and why not contact Ken and his team at Metropole Wealth Advisory. Go to metropole.com.au, click on the Wealth Advisory tab and have a chat with Ken. Thank you, Ken, for answering Rob's question.
That was a pleasure.